Do complex legal issues hold you back? Let's get energized and bring clarity to your top legal questions. This is Law Talk with the Flock by Goosmann Law Firm.
Hello, I'm your host, Jeana Goosmann, a CEO, lawyer, author, and women business owner, here to help navigate you through the law, your business, and life as a leader. For today's episode, we're going to take a dive into the topic of life insurance and using life insurance as part of your planning and to protect your estate, your family, and your future, and to make sure that you have appropriate life insurance in place. Now, I don't sell life insurance, but I can tell you that I personally own life insurance. I have different kinds of policies, and I've acquired them for different purposes. I also work with a lot of other professionals that do sell life insurance and recommend life insurance. And then when we're looking at what is a great plan for an individual to protect their legacy, protect their business, oftentimes life insurance is a wonderful tool that we look at in that process. So I'm going to hit on a high level on some of these different areas in which we use life insurance. And I'm sure I won't cover all of them because this podcast would be way too long. But let's first talk about for business leaders and business owners. I think it's important to have key man life insurance on your key people. If you have key people, maybe you have key business owners as well, and you want to have insurance on them. So if something were to happen, they were to pass away, your business could then either use that life insurance money potentially in a buy-sell agreement. That's a way to fund a buy-sell between owners. Wonderful tool. If you have a buy-sell, which I always recommend anytime you have more than one owner, you want to make sure that you have a way to make payment on that potential buyout. Maybe they aren't an owner, but they're a key employee that you have on your team. And if something were to happen to them, the business is going to take a hit. And you want to make sure that you have funding in the business so you can replace that key employee. And also that the business can withstand the downturn while they're not there and you're looking to backfill their position. So great tools within the business. Life insurance can also be used in order to build potential value for your employees. Often those are referred to as golden handcuffs. You can have split dollar life insurance policies. You can have policies that vest over time with your employee and create value for them and their family in the business as an asset for them down the road. And that could be a great incentive for them to be sticky and to stay with you and your company. So those are some things that we think about when we're talking about life insurance for business leaders. Then on the personal side, I think life insurance can be a great tool when you're young. If you get life insurance, the younger the better. I can't stress that enough. If you think that you're on the climb, you're on the rise, and you might want to get that life insurance put in place when you're young, because guess what? Your premiums are lower when you get it put in place when you're young. If you have whole life insurance, that's the kind of life insurance that actually builds cash value over time. And you can see it as part of your investments that you have. Probably not going to be the only part, but if it's one piece of your investment puzzle, that can also be a way that you're building net worth compared to what they call a term policy, where on the term policy side, it's going to be for a set period of time, maybe a 10-year or 20-year term. Here's what your premium will be for that period of time. But at the end of that term, your premium would reset. Often it goes way, way up because the older you are, the more expensive it is. So I think it's always a great tool to get life insurance, some whole life. Maybe it's also convertible. You can convert some of it into whole life later when you can afford it better. But get that put into place as part of your portfolio when you're younger. That can protect your family. So if something happens to you and you need to replace your income, that's a great tool for income replacement so your family and your kids can be taken care of. Or maybe you want to put that in place as well to pay off all your debts. If you have a mortgage, maybe you have a loan against the business. Something happened to you, what could your family use that money for? Pay off the debt, and then they would be able to have those assets free and clear. So those are some of the tools I'm thinking about when people are a little bit younger and we're planning. Okay, now as people age, hopefully they got this stuff put in place when they're younger. But when I'm looking at folks that have larger estates, death taxes start to come into play. So if today, I think we're right around the 12 and a half, we were just discussing that, what's it going to reset to for next year. We're looking at a $13 million exemption for an individual. If they're married, it doubles. But in 2026, all of this stuff is set to sunset, and we're looking at going back down to around $6.5 million. And then if you're married, you get to double that. But all of a sudden, a lot of business owners, when we're talking about the $6.5 million range, that can trigger potential death taxes for them. Death taxes start at 40%. It's a big hit for any dollar that's over that exemption amount. Now, all of a sudden, if your business can't afford to pen a check for it, you might be stuck in a position. And I think in the Midwest, we often hear about people having to sell the family farm or sell off a piece of the ground to pay the government and pay that tax. Well, if you put life insurance in place, you might not have to sell the business or liquidate key assets like the family farm, and you can use that life insurance and those proceeds to pay the government and pay that estate tax or those death taxes if and when they become due. Also a nice way to, kind of hedge against what's going to happen in the future. We have a lot of political turmoil. I'm here to tell you that I think it's a lot easier to tax dead people than it is people every year on their income tax. So I firmly kind of believe that as we look forward as a country, we're probably going to have more death taxes. So I think if you plan for that now, that's probably going to be something that your family will thank you for down the road. Okay, one other piece I wanted to touch upon when it comes to life insurance would be estate equalization. So it's pretty common. Maybe there's that farm in the family and there's one kid that stayed back and they farm the farm. Or what I see a ton is that there's one or two kids in the business, but there's, another child or two that aren't in the business. And you want to leave the business to the child that has stayed back and they've worked in the family business. But you don't want to not leave your other kids anything. And so what we tend to do then is to have life insurance or those other assets and life insurance that are outside of the business go to those other children. It's a lot more palatable for those other kids if, their sibling received the company and they got $1 million or $2 million from a life insurance policy. Okay, yep, you got the company, but you've stayed back and worked at it. And at the same time, wow, I got this life insurance and these proceeds here. So estate equalization can be another great tool for life insurance. And one more comment on that, equal isn't always fair. So you don't necessarily have to make everything to the penny equal among the children, but I think what people tend to want to do is to provide something for each of their children. So when you're looking at life insurance, that's another great tool. Like I said, lots of reasons that we plan with and recommend life insurance, and it's great to partner with other professionals that sell life insurance and have those tools. As an attorney, I don't, but it's part of a holistic plan. And it's certainly something that when an opportunity arises and an issue comes up, we like to talk to our clients about. So hopefully we've learned a little bit more about why you might be talking with your attorney and doing some business planning around life insurance. Thank you for joining me today. Have a great day, everyone. Go make it worth it. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us for Law Talk with the Flock by Goosmann Law Firm. We hope you feel energized and ready to soar past your goals. Become a Flock fan and subscribe to our podcast for weekly episodes. Learn more at goosmannlaw.com.